Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Bloomington's 19th annual commemoration of the National Black History Month. My name is Mohammed Sahir, and on behalf of Mayor John Hamilton, Beverly Callender Anderson, Director of City of Bloomington and Community Family Resources Department, Shatoya Moss. Okay. All right. Why not? Go ahead. This is our month. Clap. Go ahead. Shatoya Moss. Safe and Civil City Director and the City of Bloomington Black History Month Planning Committee. It is my pleasure to serve as the MC for the evening. Thank you for being present at tonight's event. The committee is excited about this year's program and events. Please be sure to get your copy of the Black History Month calendar of events and participate in the exciting things that will take place for the month. Before we begin tonight's program, I would also like to remind you that food and drinks are not allowed in the council chamber area. Okay, no one's in trouble, just saying. I also would like to take this time to ask you to silence your devices or your phones, so if you have not done so already. I also like to take the moment to acknowledge and recognize the City of Bloomington that the City of Bloomington sits on Native land. The city, as well as the City of Mission buildings, are part of traditional homelands of the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, I hope I said that correctly, and Shawnee people. Get me right. Say it. He said with a deep voice, he said Potawatomi. All right, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledge that they are past, present, and future caretakers of this land. We also acknowledge that much of the economic progress and development in Indiana, and especially Bloomington, resulted from the unpaid labor and forced servitude of people of color, especially enslaved African labor. We acknowledge that this land remains home to and a site of gathering and healing for many indigenous and other people of color, and commit to the work necessary to create and promote a more equitable and just Bloomington. We move forward knowing that acknowledging our rich, complicated, and sometimes painful past so that we can learn from and create a true land of opportunity. February marks the celebration of Black History Month. No applause? Okay. All right, a snap or something, all right. February marks the celebration of Black History Month. As we're ringing in the start of February tomorrow, we're looking forward to a month of community events and celebrations. The theme of this year's Black History Month celebration is Black Innovation. The month's events will celebrate and explore Black inventors, creators, and change agents, and how Black innovators change the way we live through their contributions from the traffic light to the cell phone. Most people have heard of the famous inventions such as the light bulb, the cotton gin, and the ironing board. But there are countless other and often overlooked creators and inventions that make our lives easier, such as the Super Soaker. How about that? This program would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So please give a round of applause to the platinum sponsors, Boston Scientific, City of Bloomington Community and Family Resources Department, City of Bloomington Office of the Clerk, South Central Community Action Program, SCAP, the IU Office of Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Multicultural Affairs, DEMA. Gold sponsors, City of Bloomington Office of the Mayor, IU Credit Union. If you'd like to sponsor me, let me know. Silver sponsors, Ivy Tech Community College of Bloomington. B Finer Teas, emphasis on finer, yes. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Bloomington Alumni Chapter. Yes, ma'am. I, James Torrey. Maquiba Reese. Order of Eastern Star, Southern Star, number 50. Stone City Lodge, number 54. Unveiled. And Uplands Maker Mobile. Let's have a round of applause for our junior sponsors, and thank you for all the support. At this time, I would like to bring Mr. Marvin Jones, a PhD candidate in astrophysics at Indiana University. He will bring us an opening meditation and centering for tonight's celebration, immediately followed by a special arrangement, the singing of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, written by James Weldon Johnson, and performed by True Music. Please welcome Marvin.
All right, good evening. I won't be before you long, as the pastor says. National Black History Month has its origins in 1915 when historian and author Dr. Carter G. Woodson founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. This organization is now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Through this organization, Dr. Woodson initiated the first Negro History Week in February of 1926. Dr. Woodson selected the week in February that included the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, two key figures in the history of Black Americans. In 1986, Congress passed Public Law 99-244, which designated February 1986 as National Black Afro-American History Month. This law noted that February 1, 1986, would mark the beginning of the 60th annual public and private salute to Black history. The law further directed the president to issue a proclamation calling on the people of the United States to observe February 1986 as Black History Month with the appropriate ceremonies and activities. President Reagan issued Presidential Proclamation 5443, which proclaimed that the foremost purpose of Black History Month is to make all Americans aware of this struggle for freedom and equality. The proclamation stated further that this month was a time to celebrate the many achievements of African Americans in the field of science and the arts to politics and religion. I want to point out the irony yet truth in what Reagan said. The irony is Reagan making all Americans aware of the struggle is that he and many others created policies that decimated the Black community and expanded on those struggles. The truth is, Reagan was right. Americans are aware of the struggle for freedom and equality, but they are not required to do anything about it. As we gather this evening to take a moment of silence to usher in Black History Month, I challenge us to reflect on what we are celebrating. Truly, what are we celebrating? Toni Morrison reminds us that in this country, American means white, everybody else has to hyphenate. In a country using critical race theory to undermine education, in a country where Black bodies are brutalized by violence and continual refusal to see Black history as American history, we have an opportunity this month and beyond to celebrate, as we celebrate the narratives of Black people, to take an active role in challenging and dismantling the systems that harm all of us. Let's take 5 deep breaths. Close your eyes and focus on where you are mentally, and I want you to meditate on these words. Take a deep breath in and hold. I release anything inhibiting me from doing the work of liberation, and release. Take another deep breath in and hold. Without community, there is no liberation. Bayard Rustin said those words, and release. Take another deep breath in and hold. There's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we do not live single issue lives. Mother Audre Lorde, and release. Take another deep breath in and hold. The function of freedom is to free someone else. Mother Toni Morrison, and release. And finally, take one more deep breath in and hold. Blackness is beautiful, and release. Black history is many things: rich, beautiful, painful, hopeful, joyful, mourning, suffering, innovation, brilliance, challenging, tense, and absolutely glamorous. But more than anything, it's ours. Take ownership and love all of the stories that make up who we've been, who we are, and who we can become. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Troy Thomas, and this is True Music Group. This is our arrangement of Lift Every Voice and Sing. You're more than free to stand up and hum along with us. Lift every voice, voice, voice. Lift every voice, voice. And voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on. Ooh, on.
You gotta keep on marching, yeah.
Ooh, on.
Until we find our victory.
Move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Move on.
I know you've been hurting.
Move on.
And I know you've been struggling.
Move on.
But we gotta keep on moving on.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
And you gotta keep pressing.
Move on.
March toward the victory. Yeah.
Move on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Move on. Let us march on.
Amazing grace.
Let us march on.
How sweet the sound.
Let us march on.
That sound.
Let us march on.
Rich like me.
Let us march on.
Till victory is won. His word.
Wow. I was like, all right. I was like, oh, I'm up. I'm supposed to say something. Oh, okay, cool. That was phenomenal. Wow. Thank you, Marv, for bringing us the focus and attention, centering us. Thank you much. And thank you again to True Music for the amazing rendition. Please give a round of applause. The members of the amazing group are Tyra Anderson, Andre Jamal, Tyra Yagatich, and Troy T. Thomas Jr. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable John Hamilton. Since his election in November 2015, Mayor Hamilton's administration has promoted social justice through affordable housing, wage growth, safety, inclusion, and civility and justice initiatives. Hamilton continues to serve the residents of the community's commitment to affordable housing, wage growth, safety, civility, and justice initiatives, inclusion, diversity, equity, and transparency. Please welcome Mayor Hamilton.
Thank you very much. Wow, I have never heard that rendition before. It blows me away. I would like to cede the rest of my time to True Music. Can I do that? Just get more. Oh my gosh, that was spectacular. Thank you for letting me speak very briefly. In 2 days, we begin an annual month of observance, honor, paying tribute to generations of African American lives. These are rich and complicated lives, people who faced through history and continue to face barriers to full citizenship and basic human rights. They are also lives that, like I think Marvin talked about, lives that, like any life, are marked by love and family and community, joy, loss, accomplishments, setbacks, dreaming, and doing. And throughout the month of February and beyond, we remember and honor the struggle while elevating the achievements. Black History Month is a time to center and remember Black people, their voices, acts, experiences throughout our history. We all should say our history because, as mentioned, Black history is part of our collective experience, and until it is fully woven, accurately woven into the American narrative, this month is a vital and important opportunity for all of us to learn, reflect, and connect. This is particularly important as we are living in a time in which there is fear, avoidance, even outright rejection, in the case of Florida and AP courses, of accurate and thorough inclusion of the Black experience in American history. We never should deny our history. We never should deny our history. We know that the first safeguard against repeating mistakes and cruelties of our past is to acknowledge them. That's the first safeguard, not the only. We need more than that. This year's theme of Black innovation provides us with many opportunities to gain new knowledge and insight while celebrating ideas and innovations. We mentioned some of the things this administration has worked for. I do want to thank particularly Beverly Callender Anderson, Shatoya Moss, and the volunteers that have made this happen. I also want to point out former Deputy Mayor Don Griffin here, who helped make all this happen too. Thank you, Don. Shatoya, Beverly, all your colleagues, thank you. Our community has many meaningful ways, because of their work, to vigorously invest ourselves and expand our understanding of American history, our community's history, and the Black experiences and contributions that permeate it. In a short while, we will receive the gift of hearing our keynote speaker, Elise Smith, Thank you. An emerging artist, and Scott, you can clap for her later. That's all right. She's going to get a lot of that. Dedicated to creating celebratory spaces for marginalized identities. As some of you may know, starting on February 11th at City Hall, we'll be hosting the Black Market in homage to Bloomington's original downtown Black Market that sat where People's Park is today and was destroyed by a firebomb in 1968. A coalition of organizations, Black-owned businesses, Black creators, and artists will create an affirming community space. Area students have been writing their essays, submitting them to Black History Month Committee's annual Black History Month essay contest, focusing in the written word on those agents of change that Black inventors and creators are and have been. Awards at Fairview Elementary on February 16th. Mark it down. That's a great place to be. Other awards to be presented include the Visionary Leader Award, the Living Legend Award, and Outstanding Black Leaders of Tomorrow Award, all recognizing people at different stages of community involvement, bringing persistence, vision, leadership, and action to make our community and the world in which we exist better and more just. You don't need to hear more from me. I do want to thank you all for being here tonight. You are in the right place tonight in Bloomington, Indiana. You're in the right place. And I'm going to hand things back to Mohammed Sahir. Thank you for orchestrating this evening, and so that we all can move on with greater equity and justice in Bloomington and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Hamilton, for those powerful words. I'd like to recognize our elected officials in the audience. Please stand if you can. Thank you all for what you do for this community. Also, please give a round of applause to our community partners. Dr. Gloria Howell. Sorry. Okay. Director of the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center, Indiana University and Marlboro County Public Library, and a host of other organizations. They have some amazing events and programs planned during Black History Month. Please be sure to check out those events on the City of Bloomington Black History Month website and in your calendar. Now, it is my pleasure to welcome Beverly Callender Anderson, Director of the City of Bloomington, for a special award presentation. Get me together.
I just said I wasn't the director of the whole city. Not yet, just the Community and Family Resource Department, which is an awesome department. And one of the things I wanted to say, if you have not had an opportunity yet to go by the display outside these doors that show a lot of the Black innovations across the years, to please do so. It is a wonderful display, and I hope that you all get a chance to take a look at it. So, good evening. The Visionary Leadership Award was created to recognize those in our community who see possibilities and then put in the work to make them happen. Our past recipients, County Council Member Jennifer Crosley, Donna Nicole Griffin, City Council Member Jim Sims, and Jaquita Joy Robinson are the very personification of this mission. Tonight's recipients are no different. I say recipients with an S, because tonight we're honoring two members of our community who work together to solidify a vision that will help change the lives of hundreds of people. Tonight's many people living in our community's low-income housing complexes are unable to get to the area's larger grocery stores. And the only stores close to their homes may be small, high-priced convenience stores with very little, if any, food that isn't processed. Getting to a grocery store might require 2 or more buses with children in tow, and then coming back home with bags of groceries and hopefully those same children. Because sometimes you don't know, you know. One of tonight's recipients, Leon Gordon, who works with the Bloomington Housing Authority, had a dream of a shuttle service that would help residents by offering reliable transportation to and from grocery stores, as well as help participants use their SNAP benefits and food stamps in a more efficient way. Our second recipient, Michelle Gilchrist of the Bloomington Health Foundation, was able to assist Gordon secure the funding, and along with Curry Auto Center and Summit Hill Community Development Corporation, helped to make this vision a reality. Part of the Bloomington Health Foundation's mission is to improve health equity and health determinants, and to work with community partners in a collaborative space, so this was the perfect collaboration. This work has led to a pilot project, Service and Opportunity in Motion, a new shuttle service with a 15-passenger van, which will provide transportation to and from grocery stores and possibly other essential services for people living in Bloomington Housing Authority and in Section 8. Unfortunately, Michelle Gilchrist is stuck in Memphis because of an ice storm, and she's not able to be with us this evening, but it gives me great pleasure to present the 2023 Visionary Leadership Award to Mr. Leon Gordon.
Y'all got me. I didn't quite expect this. I'm grateful. I am honored and humbled. Every day I show up to work with the idea. Actually, I show up to something that doesn't feel like work, and I'm grateful to bringing this to fruition. I came to the Housing Authority in 2018 as a service coordinator, and I said that I wanted to bring a shuttle. And it took a few years, but I kept pressing and kept trying to find avenues to make that happen. And I was grateful for a recommendation from Councilman Sims that led me in the direction of Michelle Gilchrist to apply for the grant. And yeah, I'm just grateful. And this will be the first of many more programs for the people that we serve. So thank you.
And we'll present Ms. Gilchrist with her award whenever the ice melts and she's able to get back to Bloomington.
All right, we have another beautiful selection from True Music.
So at True Music, something we like to do is kind of add variety, as you can tell. It started off with me, by myself, in a band, and now I love singing with other people because I feel like it's selfish to sing by myself, and why share the responsibility by myself? I am joined with some very amazingly talented vocalists. This is Andre. Andre is a
How y'all doing?
PhD student at Jake?
I'm in the folklore and ethnomusicology department here at IU. It's my second year. So, thank you.
I be trying to put everybody to sing at Jacobs, and that they don't own us. So,
You know?
But this first song is going to be a duet with he and I. This is an arrangement of an oldie but a goodie. So I hope you all enjoy it.
Sing along if you want.
Yeah, you can sing along.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. And brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh.
way, no. War is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. Yeah. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love here today.
Picket lines
Sister,
and picket signs.
sister,
Don't punish me
Sister.
with brutality.
Sister.
Oh, talk to me
sister.
so you can see
Oh, what's going on?
what's going on.
What's going on?
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 Mother, we don't need to escalate, no. War is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. Yeah.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh,
Picket lines
brother,
and picket signs.
brother,
Don't punish me
brother,
with brutality.
brother,
Just come and see.
brother,
Just come and see.
brother.
Oh, what's going on?
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
What's going
Yeah, what's
on?
going on?
What's going
Oh,
on?
what's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Going on,
What's going on?
going on,
What's going on?
going on.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're supposed to do another one right now. So Andre actually has to go teach a class, so please excuse him. He is the vocal coach for the IU Soul Review, which we know most of you are familiar with. So thank you. But I get the privilege and the honor to introduce these two amazing, amazing women. So standing next to me, we have TNT, that's Tyra and Tyra. And if it's just the three of us singing, it's Tyra, Troy, right? But we have Tyra Anderson. She will introduce herself, so I don't mess up your...
Hello, guys. I am a first-year student with CEP with the School of Education. And yeah. Master student, I'm sorry, first-year student, first-year master student, yeah.
I'm Tyra Yagatich. I am not in school.
Both of these beautiful women are going to sing an amazing song. Once you hear it, you know what it is. Toy already said she's gonna help with background, so I'm just gonna step to the side and let the ladies take the stage.
I was gonna say, with the weather changing too, just bear with us with our voices.
Sing with us, please.
Yes, if you want to, stand up and sing. I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can while I can, what I can for my people. Oh, the stars roll back and the stars fill the night. That's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving. Separating lines. I made it through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind. Got a made up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. I got the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but God knows I'll try. Just stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new, far across the river. You hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Wow. It's just like, I'm like, all right, this is, I kind of felt as they were singing, I'm like holding on each word. I don't know about y'all, I was holding on each word like, I'm ready to go, stand up. Great, phenomenal job. Thank you, Miss Calendar Anderson. And congratulations on your award, Leon, my main man, and Michelle. Well deserved. Amazing performance again by True Music. A round of applause for all, please. Now I am pleased to introduce our featured speaker, Ms. Elise Smith. Elise is a doctoral student at Indiana University studying urban education from Detroit, Michigan, with a research focus on experiences of bodies that identify as fat. With an interdisciplinary focus, Smith uses photography, hashtag visual activism, podcasting, spoken word poetry, hip-hop culture, freestyle lyricism, and social media as a catalyst to center the narratives of fat bodies. As an emerging artist and scholar, she has dedicated her life to creating celebratory spaces for marginalized identities that she also holds using frameworks such as Black feminism, thought, and critical race theory to ensure the work and narratives around bigger bodies are included in academia and challenging the dominant narrative around body image acceptance. An embodiment of this year's theme, a Black innovation, change agent, and content creator. Please welcome Ms. Elise Smith.
Oh, I like this. Turn this up, Toya. Yeah, Guess what you ain't gonna do? Guess what you ain't gonna do? All right. I'm ready. Good evening, everybody. All right, that was a little sexy. We'll try it one more time. Good evening, everybody. Oh, y'all fun. Y'all should come to Indy where my students don't say anything. This is a great time. I just want to first start off by saying thank you for the opportunity to be here in a community that I was in for 5.5 years, but I had to scoot up the road because gas got a little too high, so I had to get out of here. But nevertheless, I am so thankful to be here. I also want to take space for those ancestors who actually took over this ground at one point in time, not to be performative, but because I wouldn't be standing here if I did not have that opportunity for those who came before me. What time is it, Marvin? Because I know I'm between y'all and 8 o'clock. All right, we're gonna cook this up real quick. The next thing I wanna also do is take a moment to actually give pause to what we have seen recently in the news, which unfortunately is not unfamiliar. More and more Black lives are taken at the hands of those who operate under white supremacy, for those who actually take the opportunity to take those lives that they deem unnecessary, but yet and still don't know the impact that they're gonna leave on their family, their friends, and the rest of the community. Nobody wakes up wishing to be a hashtag. Nobody wakes up wishing to see someone leave this earth. But nevertheless, we have to be critical and not just use these spaces to open our mouths to be performative, but to actually do the critical work that's necessary. All right. So in honor of Black History Month, I'm gonna give you a little bit of life and then we'll get up out of here, but I just wanna first start off by letting you know that we're here for a good time, not a long time, right? All right, so that's how I get off of work every single day. I'd be like, one more day, Suge, one more day. All right, but nevertheless, the hands that were made to create the things you see in front of you comes from innovations. But a lot of other people will tell you that it came out of limitations. Hands that were bound to backs when they told them they could be nothing but Black, and they also thought that was just a singular fact, but yet and still, we still rise to above. We see the mountaintops that they told us we will only dream of. Innovation doesn't stop when you tell me. And the foliage that they had to hunt through many nights, wondering if they will wake up to see another day, they built the lives that we all stand before. Tell me how you would have got through that red light. How would you have pressed those edges? Would you have been able to pick up that phone and call your grandmama today had it not been for the ancestors that look like her and also look like me? This innovation didn't come because you told us what we could do. This innovation came because of what we went through. You tried to silence, you tried to mask, you tried to erase, you even stole. But the one thing about being Black and innovative, baby, we solid gold. The things that I tell you today comes off the lips of those who didn't have an opportunity to say them to me, but through the belief that I had, the God that I serve, and the society that I continue to try to change, I recognize each and every step that has come before and after me. I recognize my ancestors' wildest dreams. With that, I get into my story. I am from Detroit, Michigan, home of what they used to call the Murder Mitten. For a very long time, I couldn't understand why was I in these spaces and I wasn't seeing growth the way that I wanted to. You're looking at a high school graduate who graduated with a 1.8 GPA. Hard to believe, right? Blew my grandma mind too. She said, what? Right? Cool. I got to my 4th year in my doctoral program, not by accident, but by perseverance, right? I remember when I first wrote my graduate letter, I had not one person in my family to call on. All my grandma said was, you better get it in before 11:59. That's all she knew. But I appreciated her for pushing past, as my family comes from South Carolina. South Carolina is this big. Ware Shoals is where they were from. So it was 2 raccoons. Who from Ware Shoals? Yes! You wait till I get on the phone with my grandma tonight. I'm like, I found somebody, Grandma, I found somebody. They know what I was talking about. But nevertheless, the reason why I bring this up is because when my grandparents moved to Detroit, Michigan, my grandfather was a truck driver and my grandmother worked at General Motors for years. Most people will understand, hey, you had a leverage to a good life, but I also saw a lot of turmoil in my family. I'm very transparent with my story, and my mother was on drugs a majority of my life, leaving me and my siblings to wonder, when is the next time we're gonna have a meal? When is the next time we're gonna have our lights on? But that never stopped the dream within my family. I don't tell this story to be self-centered, but I tell this story because I watched it unfold in front of my eyes for multiple years. My second oldest brother, Donovan Andrew Smith, I thank God for that man. He decided to not only raise his siblings, but also raise his mother. He stood up in a spot where my father chose his life was more important than the children that he bared. And I watched a man, by literally candlelight, homeschool himself to get his high school diploma. While I was in high school trying to figure out what was the math, my teacher was trying to teach me with all the brackets and the parentheses, and she said it was gonna make sense. Still ain't made sense, but it's okay, because that's why I got Marvin. He does all the math, okay? Definitely got Marvin for that. But the reason I bring this up is my brother had a dream to work with cars. He wanted to create a car show, the flashiest cars Metro Detroit had ever seen, the Motor City. And I can attest today that after years of ideas being stolen, innovation being questioned, identities not making sense, my brother holds one of the largest car shows in Detroit after 10 years. It's kind of cool till he makes me come home in the summer and work the gate, and I gotta fight with people about giving me $25, so it has its give and its take. But the reason why I bring this up is because my brother started this dream at 13 years old, when he didn't know when his next meal was gonna come, when he picked up a job to take care of 4 siblings that he had never fathered. And because of that, that led me to know that you can get it to the next level. That also reminded me that the goals in which you have can never be stifled by the voices that do not sound like your own. Do not let people take the opportunity to take your voice away. Because before all of that was in that bio, I was that individual. Going back to my 1.8 GPA, I struggled in school not because I was a class clown, but because I couldn't understand what was my purpose of being here. Every time I did an assignment, open up a history book, nobody looked like me. And then one day I saw Madam C.J. Walker, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. She look a little plus size, don't she? She look like she one of us, right? So that gave me an opportunity to say, you can dream beyond the walls that they put in front of you. That's why they created doors, and that's why the word demolition also exists. Tear it down. So because of that, I moved through and I entered a community college system. I was totally embarrassed at that time to be at a community college because nobody around me was going there. All the black girls that looked like me were going off to Howard, Spelman, Hampton, Michigan, Michigan State. They were going to every single place that I had been told you will never have access to. After years of trying to contemplate what does that look like to show up in these spaces, I finally broke through that mold and I got to Eastern Michigan University, where I actually obtained my baccalaureate in healthcare administration. But during that, thank you, it was hard. It was really difficult. But nevertheless, in that moment, during that time, I acquired 14 academic scholarships. This came from the same girl who was told 1.8 was not gonna get you anywhere. And at this time, we didn't have TikTok and OnlyFans, so I had no other options to do anything. So I recognized I too would be in somebody's classroom. It's a cool choice, right? You get to wear cool shirts like this. Nevertheless, when I looked at that opportunity and that journey, I said, what can you make of yourself next? At that time, I then enrolled in IU. IU became my number one choice, and I was devastated when everybody in my cohort got accepted, and I sat in my driveway, and it did not happen. But I was on the phone at the time with a very close friend, and out of nowhere, at 83%, very true story, my phone shut off. And I looked at my phone, I turned it back on, and a voicemail had came through. And the voicemail was from Renee, who was in the Kelley School of Business, who said, I just wanted to offer you a graduate assistantship and welcome you to Indiana University. That was in the summer of 2016. I ain't left yet, as you see. I've been holding on to y'all real close and strong. But I say that to say, in that moment, I could have missed my opportunity on being the innovator I am today. When I came to this campus, just like I did at Eastern Michigan University, I said, I'm gonna take everything you have to offer. And for those who know me, I took everything they had to offer and more. It was a point in time in undergrad when they actually contacted me and said, please stop applying for scholarships. I said, if you saw what was in my bank account, you'd actually give me a few more, so I'm not gonna stop. So at that point, I appreciated where I am today. But nevertheless, in the work that I do, whether it's around body image, whether it's about diversity, equity, inclusion, I come here to tell you that many of the voices that were before me told me every single time that you are not qualified, that you will not make it. And these are even words that came from the man who calls himself my father. I struggled with that identity for years. I took every single thing they put against me, whether it was my size, my blackness, the identity as a woman, and I turned it into a whole entire degree. Don't tell me what you cannot do. Now, the thing about it is we see a lot of innovation that takes place, but there's also a lot of appropriation. It only benefits certain communities when it comes off of black bodies, but it doesn't have to be on a black body. How do we address those things in the form of finances, resources, the ability to have the difficult conversations that will continue to shift the minds of those who are coming up behind us? We're not just a community because we sit in a room together. We're a community because of how we do our outreach. Who are you willing to bring along on the ride? What are you willing to sacrifice? And when it comes to innovation, it doesn't stop at a particular age. At this moment right now, we have a lot of individuals in the world continuing to show us talent from even just a mere peek into the people we had speak today. I want to remind you that this journey is not easy. That this should not be celebrated only the day before or the month of Black History Month. My Black identity, along with others, is existing 365 days a year. I don't get a choice. But the reality is I wouldn't choose anything else. Through my Blackness, I have seen a lot of individuals be birthed, create, and actually make movements in the spaces that they hold and they occupy. We're talking about ancestors that work by candlelight, some that work with no light, with whips across their backs, with civil rights actually telling them they have to stop, dogs, chains, water hoses, and we continue to see unarmed Black bodies continuing to be dismantled, disrupted, just because someone else doesn't understand. I challenge you in these spaces not just to go back and protest and scream to the top of your lungs, but actually take a moment to, one, heal, reflect, and also make sure you protect. Is this work easy? No. But again, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. As you sit in these spaces, you are future ancestors. What legacy will you leave behind? Every single time I take the opportunity to show up in certain spaces, I recognize who sacrificed something for me. I appreciate my grandparents for taking that opportunity and using their literally elementary education to make a lifestyle for their children and their grandchildren. It came with sacrifice. It came with a lot of questions, and it came with the opportunity to make a change for tomorrow. We have to no longer put all of our power and our belief in the people that we just see on a big screen. You in this room make up a lot of the change and the difference that we want to see. What's my time, Marvin? Okay, I'm gonna give you 3 more minutes and then I'm gonna get up out of here because. But nevertheless, what I learned through my journey is that this all was not by happenstance. Some of the people will tell us to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but what if you don't even have a boot or a strap to pull up? What about the redlining and gentrification? What about the opportunities to hear voices be silenced in front of others while we sit there confused, wondering, what can I do to make sure we change? So as I sit before you, stand before you in these cool little hills, as I stand before you, I want to remind you that this work does not end today. Unfortunately, there's not an end date in sight. But we could look at that as a deficit, or we could look at it as an opportunity to bring more individuals to the space. We talk a lot about the table, but what we fail to realize is at the table, there's different height chairs. There's people who's gonna sit on the front of the table, and therefore power dynamics look different. There's these people of color who we put at the table, but yet and still will be bounded and duct taped and silenced. We just need your representation. We don't need your innovation. How do we break those silos? How do we continue to do this work? How do we continue to say we will no longer shut up because we want to make somebody else feel comfortable? I made a dedication to myself years ago that I was going to do DEI work. I didn't have all the sexy language for it at the time. But what I recognized was I wanted to make a change that I may not even be alive to witness. And when you stop depending on what you will get out of something and more on what you will do for someone else, you will move forward in ways that you could not have done before. You will move forward in ways that will blow the minds of others. Tap into the resources that we have available, but also stop waiting for somebody to pass them out. And this is one community where I've seen movers and shakers across the board that continue to take off the table versus waiting for the invitation. So with that, I leave you. Continue to be innovative. Continue to spark the minds of those around you. Continue to center yourself in moving forward this work, because a lot of times we work in silos and the work doesn't get done. Remember that at the end of the day, so many people benefit from just one story and one voice. And I ask you, I beg you, to continue to make sure that innovation doesn't stop outside of just your sphere of influence. Continue to push, continue to motivate, and continue to be innovative. Thank you. Oh, y'all stop it. Stop it.
Again, thank you so much, Elise. Beautiful words. Powerful words. All right, thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope that this program inspires you to reflect on the importance of Black innovation, especially in our community. I got a yes, I agree with what, yes, it was. I love it. You get the best yeses in the city, I swear. Can I get another one? Okay. We have amazing talent, change agents, and creators right here that make Bloomington a better place to live and thrive. Please take a moment to use the QR code on the screen, should be that, or on the back of your calendar to give us feedback on tonight's event. Don't forget to grab a calendar of events for the rest of the month and visit Black History Month webpage at bloomington.in.gov/BHM. We look forward to seeing you throughout the month and year as we continue to celebrate Black history. My name is Muhammad Sahir. I've been your host and MC. Good night.